the nebula of dreams and lore, Uncle Chunk's got tales galore. With the mighty beard, a hammer strong, pop culture legends where we belong. Chuntcast roars like a cosmic storm. Movies, comics, games, we transform. Uncle Chunk leads the way each night.
By the might of Mjolnir, I am the king of this realm, Uncle Chunt, and I hope you're all being great ones to you and yours. Yes. Thank you for including me in your day. Excellent. Running a little late on this one tonight. I've just been animating another episode of Guiji Brown Harold. Shameless plug. That wasn't intentional. I'm just letting you know. If you see this one upload a bit later tonight, and that is why I've been pretty distracted this afternoon. So I hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming back here. I know I missed a week there, but it's been pretty chaotic work. That's all I'll say. It's just been pretty heavy. So I'm back here anyways. A few things I want to talk about that I missed last week and a couple things to discuss this week. So tonight, if I can get my words out, I want to talk about Pokémon Legends Z-A. That was recently revealed for the Pokemon Direct, a few days ago now. The DC Marvel crossover. I haven't seen a lot of news around this, but I want to talk about it because it's bloody exciting. That's me anyway. And the He-Man movie. There's been some reveals and photos and whatnot. I haven't had a chance to talk about any of this, and this is my chance now on my own show. So we're going to do that. So hopefully everything's cool in your neck of the woods. I did post on socials the other day, well, yesterday I think it might have been, Time It's a Construct I do not follow, where I did announce that, like it's some massive friggin' thing, that I was going to enter a Beyblade tournament. So I've got the launcher here for those visual people watching, audio listeners at home. I'm holding up a string launcher setup and a deck box. So you can hear that rattling. That's got 3 Beyblades in there. Now, for those of you who are like, what the hell is a Beyblade? Now that I'm not getting paid anything with this, I'm just saying. This is a Beyblade. It's like a spinning top, but on steroids. Now, I've always appreciated Beyblades as a franchise. I remember playing it in the schoolyard as a kid and in high school, I believe, and I really enjoyed it. The anime is awesome. But yeah, I just couldn't afford to play it back in the day. And my wife and I played it a little bit a few years ago now, or a couple of years ago, when the Burst era was around. It was okay. It definitely wasn't as good as what I remembered, but this new Beyblade X line that's come out, it's all like more metal focused. Like all the tops have metal, and it's pretty hardcore, man. Whereas like we got the cheap stuff that Hasbro remade. Right, so instead of getting the rad cool stuff that was legit really good in Japan, Hasbro would remake it into cheap plastic crap, right? Whereas now Hasbro are just directly importing or using the Japanese parts and goods and repackaging them, if I can get my words out, into the worldwide distribution model that they have. So awesome, right? To me anyway. So we're getting one-to-one parity with Japan stuff. So it's good, like it's good solid stuff. And it's worldwide parity, which is great. So they've really gone focused in running tournaments around the world and turning it into a hobbyist or competitive sport of sorts. Pretty nuts. Been watching a lot of tournaments online. It might sound really silly, and let's face it, it is. But man, it's got me. It's got me by the balls, and I'm in for it. So I meant to enter a tournament earlier today, but I woke up just so tired. I've been really tired since Friday. Hectic week at work, and I just didn't have it in me to drive all the way there and then spend hours competing, going match, and then driving all the way back home, and then animating Guiji Brown Harold, and then doing the show. So I was like, well, I'm just going to cut my losses today. I'll go to the next tournament. I'll have a few extra bits and pieces so I can make some better competitive options, and then go back in. So I made my animation a bit of a priority today. So good on you, Chunt. Well done. Pat on the back. Round of applause. Yay. As I take a sip on this warm Sunday afternoon/evening. So yeah, after this, after do Chuntcast tonight, I'm going to go back and animate the next part of the episode for Quijibo and get that nutted out. So anyway, that's a bit of me from my realm here. Let me know in the comments below what you've been up to, and I look forward to talking about these topics. And let's get just right into it. So what we're doing, the first up is the Ask Chunt. Yes, let's do that. Indeed. Love that. Love that song. So wanky of me to say so. Anyway, so this one comes from, I'm going to say this as NY Redneck 04, not near Ednick. So I'm assuming you're from New York. Oh, wow. That didn't plan for that. For those audio listeners, I'm wearing a New York Yankees red cap, like Fred Durst style. Yeah. So I'm going to say it's New York Redneck 04. So heel to you. So he says, new to the content creation thing, what advice would you give to someone starting or nervous? I don't know where to start, and is there any point now? Been following what you do a long while now. You should have a bigger channel, not fair. Good to have Chuntcast fix again. Heel to you, sir, again. No, thanks, mate. No, that's awesome. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words there. Look, it is what it is. Like, my channel is my channel. Let's be real. I haven't been consistent. I do have a real life and a day job, so I haven't been consistent. But it's been good. Like, whenever I do upload, I get more than what I think I will get. And I think that's a good outlook to have. What I've learned is not to listen to people that say it's too saturated. It's not. There are some people, there are massive creators on this platform that I've never heard of. Every now and then I'll find out, oh, look at this creator with 100,000 or 1 million or 2 million subscribers or whatever, but I've never heard of them, right? So there's a spot for everybody, is what I'm saying. So, I'm like nothing, like in the big scheme of things, but I'm very thankful for what I've got, right? Very thankful, and I appreciate anybody tuning into what I've got to say. The way I look at it is, I'm speaking to a room of people, right? And whoever's in that room, awesome, right? Then you've got the people that are, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, like they're speaking to stadiums and stuff like that. It's just how I look at it. And speaking to a room is pretty hard. I don't know if you've spoken to a room before or in front of people that all eyes are on you. It's not that easy. Some people, it comes natural. But, I've had some situations in my professional life where I've been put on the spot to speak to a room of 50 people, and it's like, oh, wow, you get your voice, you can feel it and you can hear it in your voice, and people, you just know people can hear it, the nerves in your voice or whatever, but that's normal, man, and you get used to it. But, if I was you, it depends on what you want to talk about. That's the thing. Just, if you've got one of these, like a mobile, right, or just whatever, just get a stand and just talk. Right. And then there's lots of solutions for you that makes it easier. You can edit it on your phone, using an app. Like I use InShot. It's an app on the mobile phone if I want to cut up my videos and post it to like TikTok or whatever, or make shorts out of them. And you can use an online site called Canva, and you can make your thumbnails and whatever else in there. Like there's all this easy stuff that wasn't around, when I started. Like, I haven't been doing this long. Well, I have. My channel's been around for ages, but I haven't been doing it professionally or consistently like some others have. But, you just use whatever you had. I had some software that I acquired somehow back in the day to make Photoshop-like things. Read into that what you will. And that's what I used. Or just another one like Gimp. Gimp's a free piece of software. Use that if you want to make thumbnails and stuff, right? And just go for it. But Canva, if you're not tech savvy or app savvy, just use Canva. I love it. My wife uses it as well. I have used it now and then. if I'm in a rush and I don't have time to sit here in Gimp and use my templates that I've already set up for myself manually. And audio, like if you want to record audio, just use Audacity. It's free as well. There's all these free options, man. Just go for it and just see what happens. You don't even have to do all this whiz-bang stuff that I do. You know, the YouTube, from what I hear and what I've looked into, YouTube's algorithm or audiences are swinging back towards more authenticity, more than high production values. And I can say that for myself. I'm sick of clicking on a video, someone's YouTube channel or whatever, and it's this high, super polished, super production, whatever. Like, you know, it's like, okay, but who are you, man? Like, who are you behind the thing? Who's running the show? You know, are you likable? Do I think I've got something in common with this creator or whatever? Like, who's communicating to me? You know, there's something about the you and YouTube that seems to be coming back, and I hope it does. And a lot of viewers are a lot more savvier than they used to be. You can get away with not that great a video, I'll say, if your audio is real good. I will say that. If you're going to make an investment anywhere, straight up, first thing I would go and get a good microphone. Because the last thing you want to do is put up a video in today's world, I guess, if you're sounding like you're speaking across the room and you're difficult to hear, and you know it sucks, but that's the reality of it. Unless you're sitting really close to your phone and you've got, you know, soundproofing or whatever in your room, we've got some carpets down that you can muffle the sound in the room a bit. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds, but that's what I would do, right? Just figure out what the hell you want to talk about and just put it up. All right, it is what it is. No one's going to see your first 10, 20, 100 videos maybe, you know, but it is what it is. Eventually someone will. And, you know, YouTube will find that you are constantly uploading, and then eventually it might just start pushing you out somewhere. Right. And that's what I tell myself, right? If I could do this as a day job, like I'd probably put things out like 2 or 3 times a week instead of once a week, you know? But yeah, just do that, man. Once a week, twice a week, even if you've got the time. But there is something to be said in some of the analytics that some people are finding success from twice a month. So yeah, just don't overburden yourself, man. It's meant to be fun, right? Don't freak out about. I sure as hell don't freak out about. Oh, I've got to get up at this time. That's just a me thing, right? When I mentioned at the start of the show, like, oh, I'm a bit late. Because I usually have a time that I want things uploaded by, so I can just chill out for the rest of my night. That's what that's about, right? I don't want to be sitting here at 9 o'clock or whatever doing this at night when I know I've still got to upload it and do all the thumbnails and cut it all apart and export everything. Like, I don't want to be doing that at midnight. So that's just a me thing. So you just do it, man. Just go find some of your favorite creators and stuff. I mean, you say you've been following me for a while, so. If you see what I've progressed, right, I've invested in myself here. I didn't start with all this stuff. I didn't. If you get like, even if you look a year or two ago, I didn't really have that good of a thing, right? I was still trying to find my way, find myself, what I wanted to do. You know, it's always changing and evolving. I'm comfortable with what I have now. Like, I'm actually really happy with it. I think it looks nice. I think it sounds nice. It's still me, right? I'm still putting me in it, which I think is the most important part, besides it looking a bit more polished. But that's just a me thing. That's how I want it to look, right? And if people don't like it, then fine. But I think it looks good and it sounds good anyway. But you'll get there, man. And just, you know, don't go all in is what I'm saying, straight up. Because you might do 10, 20 videos or whatever, and you might find, look, it's not for you, and then you stop, right? And that's fine. Some people have told me I should just give up, right? But no, I don't want to. I enjoy it, right? That's why I keep doing these things, because I keep coming back when I have the time and when life allows it. I can come back and do this, right? And if people like it, if people tune in, if people tune out, whatever, it's fine. There'll always be me here, and there'll always be, you know, as long as I'm making stuff, YouTube will be there, you know, to promote me or put me in front of some eyes if I make this consistent enough. And I can show that I'm active on the channel and that people are tuning in, right? That's how it is. You just got to train the algorithm that you are active and that people are tuning in, and people do find you or discover you or whatever, but no one's going to know what you got to say or if you're here unless you're here, right? And I sound like a hypocrite saying this kind of stuff because, I still have a day job and all that kind of stuff, and don't look into this as a get rich quick scheme, right? I know people that have been doing this longer than me, with a lot more push than me, that have been investing heavily in advertising and stuff like that, that are barely pushing 5 to 10,000 subscribers, right? And they're really, really going for it, and they're hiring people to edit the videos and that kind of stuff so they don't have to. And, that's how you want to get out of it, I guess. But look, I don't know what to tell you there, except just start. If you really like it, just start. And if you enjoy it, keep it going. Find your niche, I guess. It sounds cliche to say, but find what you want to say, what you want to talk about, and people will eventually find you. And get active on social media, get active in YouTube comments. And people, if you start making some interesting comments or people, resonate with what you have to say, then they'll go check out your socials and your channel, and it's just organic like that, right? And if you really wanted to get anal about it, catch the trends. I don't know. Like I find that fake. Like I don't want to catch the trends because there's stuff that I just don't care about. Like what's happening in Hollywood, like celebrities or controversies with celebs or famous people. Like I don't care about those trends that the news always spouts, or the news, what's going on right now in the world and stuff. Like whatever. It come across as disingenuous for me to be saying all that kind of stuff, where I just want to sit here and talk about toys and comic books and shit. Right. So anyway, do what you like. Hopefully I've answered some questions or given you a bit of perspective on what you want to do. You might do a faceless channel. That's fine. It's just voice only, or you might get in front of the camera or whatever it is. Right. But if you really want to have a go at it, just start. Again, it's cliche, but it's all true. Right. There's a lot of videos out there that'll tell you the same thing. And, I'm just now one of them. Yay. So cool. Anyway, heel again. I hope I'm saying that right. New York Redneck 04, and hopefully you have a good one. Enjoy the show, mate. And don't be a stranger. Cool. All right. So done ski. So I guess we'll head into the first topic, and let's get the show on the road, shall we? Yes. Okie dokie. So as I said at the start, Pokemon Legends, that was just revealed or shown or in-depth more of ish. Can't speak English good. Pokemon Legends Z-A, or Z-A for those in America, was finally revealed properly, and we've got a bit more of a better look at it. So I'm going to jump over to this screen, and just so I can have some visual aid while we're talking here. So cool. So we're starting off back with these fine gentlemen and or ladies, depending on what kinds of Pokemon they are. So Z-A takes place in Lumiose City, I believe it's called. And look, from what the trailer looked like, it looks like the city's been built or something, or there's some redevelopment there going. And there's some random places in the city for Pokemon to thrive in, or they just live together uninterrupted by humans. And there's like all these like green energy barriers or something around them. It's very video gamey, I must say. But look, I think graphically it looks a bit better than Scarlet and Violet did. Like that one looked rough as hell. So I haven't seen confirmation if this game is confirmed as being on, or the footage that we saw, was that on the new Switch hardware? I don't know. I think that'd be risky to do. I think that'd be more genuine to say it's on current Switch hardware. But look, it looks a lot better than Scarlet and Violet from what I think anyway. So yeah, your starters, I thought this was random. I was expecting new starters. But we got Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. Chikorita and Totodile are from Johto region, I think, from Pokemon. So there's a mix of regions here from starters. Look, I like Tepig. I'm playing Pokemon Go, and I've got a 3-star maxed out. It's not Pignite. What's it called? Someone will tell me in the comments. What's the evolved version of Tepig and Pignite? Embor. There we go. If you beat me to the comment, good on you. I'll give you a heart down there if you beat me to it. But yeah, Embor is one of my favorites. So safe to say that when I do pick up this game, this will be the first Pokemon game where a fire type will be my starter for the game. I usually choose water all the time, ever since Squirtle, Team Squirtle represent. So yeah, there's these wild zones in this Legends game. So okay, just go back. So Legends Arceus, right? I loved Legends Arceus. I love it. Like that's my favorite Pokemon game ever, besides Pokemon Blue. But if they ever did like a straight up remake of Pokemon Blue like this, not Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, come on. I really enjoyed that game, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. But if they did it like this, I mean, you'd never have to give me another Pokemon game ever again. But yeah, like Legends Arceus, I loved that game. 100%ed it, caught every Pokemon. That's the first time I've ever done that for a Pokemon game. I thought it was excellent. I enjoyed the art style too. It was still janky, but the play style is what got me. And I'm glad to see another Legends game and they're keeping that game style, like gameplay mechanics and whatnot. So you can walk around and just freely throw Pokeballs at Pokemon, like without battling them. I like that. You can sneak around and like do different tactics and stuff and just throw a ball and hopefully you can catch them. I really dig that. So you can do the same here. You can still weaken the Pokemon before catching them. That's just traditional Pokemon stuff. But there's an all new battle system. Now they did show what some of that all new battle system looks like, but basically it looks like this. You can walk around just like your Pokemon can walk around, and both your Pokemon and yourself can act individually or independent of each other, but you can still give them commands, and the attacks all happen in real time, and the trainer commands and that kind of stuff. But moves have a cooldown. So, you know, if you've played any kind of modern JRPG, action JRPG, you probably played this already, right? You should understand from what I've just said there on how this plays. Very similar to me. I mean, that's how it makes sense to me to explain. But the Pokemon physically hit each other and all that stuff. I mean, why is that a highlight for me to say? It sounds really bad. Like animal fighting, like caged animal fighting, or ring, like putting two animals in a ring. That's illegal in a lot of countries. But here we are saying, man, I can't wait to play a game about two animals being forced to fight each other. So anyway, Mega Evolutions are back as well. I mean, yay, cool, I guess. I never really cared for that. And the crystallization, whatever it's called, terrestrialization, whatever the hell. Like, why? That didn't make sense to me. I thought it was stupid. But anyway. So yeah, look, I'm excited for this. I don't really get too excited about Pokemon games these days, and I'm old, man. I'm turning 40 this year, but I mean, I praised Pokemon Blue. I played it originally back in the day on a little Game Boy cartridge, so that's how old I am. But yeah, look, I really enjoyed what they showed here. I'm looking forward to it. I know. Oh, just a spoiler for the next topic, Marvel vs. DC. But yeah, so I mean, I remember talking about this with Dan and Jamie from Gameplug fame and Let's Talk Games fame back in the day. You know, about Pokemon games or our favorites were, and we were talking about Arceus back then, and it was all the hype, man. So I'm looking forward to another one. And I always said, look, if they continue making the Legends games, I'll just tune in for those, because that game style, it just got me, that gameplay loop, and I could skip other games. You know, like I didn't play Sword and Shield, but I picked up God, I've already said it, Scarlet and Violet. I played that 100% with my wife during our honeymoon, during and after our honeymoon. So that was awesome. I've got the steel bookcases up there as like a memento for that whole period of my life, our life. So yeah, if they keep doing these Legends games every odd year, cool. I'll just tune in for those and I'll have a collection of Legends games. But otherwise, I hope this is good, man. I hope it's, to me, it looked like it was really closed off and closed in. Whereas what I liked about Arceus, it was open maps. You know, you could go everywhere, right? I'm just concerned that, you know, yes, you can run along rooftops and stuff like that, and you can see the mountain in the distance there and hillsides and whatnot. Like, can you go out there Is that where you can go, or is it just within the city, or do you eventually leave the city? I don't know, and that's what I'm worried about. That's what I really liked about Arceus is yes, there were big maps, and they were separate maps. You didn't have to go back to the hub world and then select where you wanted to go and all that kind of stuff. I get that. Maybe it's like this. I hope the city is not just one big, multiple, worlds in one. I hope there's just the city and then maybe other locations outside the city that you can visit. Maybe I'm having some lofty expectations here, but anyway, I'm excited. I hope there's more customization options for your character as well. I don't need to dress up my Pokemon. I don't want to waste time with that stuff. Go away. To me, that's nonsense stuff. I guess it's for the kids or the girls or whatever, but I don't want to waste my time with that. Just give me some good combat, some good action, some good exploration, and a good story, and we've got a winner. And maybe they can tie it back to Arceus. Maybe somewhere in the city there's hey, this is where it all started, back in the Sinnoh region. So yeah, anyway, that's enough about Pokemon, I guess. What are your thoughts, man? Do you play Pokemon still? Have you tuned out? Are you a bit like me, where you kind of touch your toe in every now and then, depending on the release, if it catches your fancy or whatnot? That's the thing about Pokemon, man. There's something there for everybody. It's great. I think Pokemon, there's a lot of Pokemon out there. A lot of Pokemon games. That Direct that they put out, there's so many games that no one cares about. And it's just kind of skip. Let's get to the one that we all want to talk about. And that's pretty much how it ran as well. So yeah, let me know what your favorite Pokemon game is. Is it a new one? Is it like me, where Pokemon Blue was my go-to? Back in the day, it was Pokemon Blue in the Nintendo 64 cartridge through Pokemon Stadium, and so you can play it on your big screen. Whereas these days, there's plenty of emulated options where you can put it on your big screen or whatever. But what's your favorite way to play Pokemon? Or are you just like me, where you play Pokemon bloody Go all the time whenever you're driving, and you got a Pokeball Go plus whatever it is in your pocket, and whenever you feel like the thing, you push the button as you I don't condone playing Pokemon Go and driving, by the way. Don't take me as an example. Anyway, cool. I'll wrap that. And we'll get into the next topic, which is all about the DC Marvel crossover. Yes. Okie dokie. Yes. I've been looking forward to talking about this, as it does excite me quite a bit. Not going to lie, quite a bit. Let's go. Oh, that's Ask Chunt. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. There's a Pip and Pip channel, Christopher. Yes. There we go. All right. So let me take a breath, because where do I start? So DC versus Marvel. This has been a thing for 20 odd years, right? All the way back in the 70s. There were crossovers happening every now and then, and it was quite common between Marvel and DC, and it was great to see them rubbing shoulders over the years of, hey, let's make this character fight this character. We put it to a fan vote of hey, let's do a big event and all these Marvel and DC characters will fight each other, and the fans get to vote, the readers get to write in and send their votes in and choose the winners and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff is gone these days. We don't get it anymore, right? So last year, this is the Jim Lee cover for the DC versus Marvel Omnibus. So I have this book. It's on my shelf, but it's not that cover. And I am so glad I got it. You can still get it on Amazon if you like, and just check your local stores as well. Plug to your local comic book shops wherever possible. If you want to get all the history, I think pretty much every crossover from the early or late 70s, I should say, through the 80s. And I think there might even be some 90s ones in the early 90s, maybe, in there. I'm not too sure about all the dates in there. But it's around when Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and then there was a bit of a transition time where Ben Reilly was Spider-Man, and that's my Spider-Man. So anyway, if you're a fan of Marvel or DC, it's a no-brainer to buy. It's a piece of history as well. So that sold really, really well, apparently, right? And there's another one called DC versus Marvel, the Amalgam Omnibus, right? So the Amalgam Omnibus is, I think I mentioned it in the last Chuntcast as well, but the Amalgam Omnibus, just to recap it ever so slightly, was another crossover where there's these two cosmic beings that represented DC and Marvel and their universes, right? And then they had a disagreement or whatever, and they said, well, let's pit our universes together, and whoever wins decides the victor, whatever, and so it was just that there was just one of those, grab your action figures and smash them together kind of a comic book story. It was awesome, man. And I love that stuff. Anyway, so during that course of that story, things went haywire and the universes merged. Right, so that's where you get Batman crosses Wolverine, gets Dark Claw, right? You get Superboy crosses Spider-Man, you get Spider-Boy, and he's got guns that shoot webs, of course, and stuff like that. Super Soldier, Superman and Captain America, etc., right? And that omnibus that they've put out sold out, right? I was flat out getting a copy. I won't waste too much time talking about it, but Amazon screwed me hardcore on that and cancelled it on me at least 2 or 3 times. And I had it pre-ordered back in October 2024, and they cancelled on me twice. So I've had to find another option because there's been almost nowhere to get it. I found a website, and shout out to the Culture Shock Collectibles community. Chris, I believe his name was, posted a link to a comic book website that he uses that's based in America. And they still had some stock of the Amalgam Omnibus. So I hadn't heard of it before. And a couple of us took a shot and put our orders through. And we're all like waiting with bated breath for shipping details. And when we both got them, there's 2 of us in the group. Dave's Cave, I believe his name is. Great channel, by the way. Check it out. Does action figures reviews, really good. So yeah, we both like, yeah, look, we got a shipping notice. Awesome. So it's coming this week. And I should have it hopefully by the next Chuntcast, I'll have it in hand. And to me, that's another special piece of comic book history. Most people don't care for it because it's like, whatever. But I think it's awesome because we've never seen anything like it since by any company, any of the big comic book businesses out there, right? And it's got multiple comics in there and from various crossover of characters conjoined, all that kind of stuff. And it's awesome. And then after that, there was another one called Justice League of America Cross Avengers, right? And they put that book out. They reprinted that book, I think in 2022. It was a fundraiser because George Perez was going through some health issues, and I'm putting that lightly. And the fans rallied together and got a publisher together and wrangled the rights to get that book published. Now I missed out on that. Because I wasn't around at the time to in the headspace to acknowledge it and get ahead of it before it was too late. Otherwise, I would have loved to get that. So anyway, those things sell out really quick, right? But there's a lot of rights issues and struggles to make this happen. Where I've heard from credible sources that these omnibuses, these recent ones, were near impossible to get happen. They probably won't happen again. So that's pretty big. It's a big call, right? And some of the big names on both companies have said similar things, right? Now, whether that's just some hype comments to get people to buy it, probably. But I wouldn't put it past that truth, right? The amount of the amount of companies that have traded hands of these two with different character rights and that kind of stuff. Anyway, long story short, here we are. So the success of these Omnis has drummed up a lot of interest and community comments about when is Marvel doing another one? How come we haven't had another crossover in like over a decade or more, right? And part of that is Dan Didio from DC used to be the head there, right? And he's gone on stage and said he's the reason why there hasn't been a crossover since, because he didn't think he said basically I would only do that, or he thinks it's out of desperation if you do a crossover, and he's the reason why we hadn't had any, because he said no, we don't need them, right? Essentially, I'm paraphrasing what he says, I'm not quoting him directly, but that's pretty much what he said. So that sucks. I mean, you're an idiot for one. I mean, that would anyway. Why? Like, yeah, that would sell, And I understand, you want something like that to be a rarity, right? Not something that happens every couple of years or whatever, because it kind of gets old, right? Whereas now it's a big deal because it doesn't happen. And for this potentially to happen is a big deal, right? So recently, there was a Comic Pro panel, like very recent in the last month, featuring, so there was the editors in chief of both Marvel and DC. I've got the names, CB Cebalski. I want to hope they've not ruined that, from Marvel. Basically saying, hey, another crossover. What's the quote here? Another crossover, a modern crossover. Yeah. They were talking about crossovers between Marvel and DC because both of them are on stage. So she says, he. Oh my God, sorry. She is over at DC. CB, I'm just going to call him CB. He says, another crossover, a modern crossover. Are you up for it? To the crowd. And apparently the crowd like cheered like nuts about the tease. And then he turned to DC Comics Marie Javins, and she said, I guess we have no choice but to do this after hearing the crowd and putting it out there. And then she followed to ask if they could get this done by 2025, or within 2025. And CB from Marvel says, they'll put together some creators and some character ideas, right? So from what I gathered by that, and I've seen and heard some audio on that, it sounded tongue in cheek, like they know, they're both knowing and they both understand people want this. So that was cool. You don't often get Marvel and DC heads at the table at the same time, right? That's a big deal. But yeah, this isn't a huge surprise, right? Considering how those Omnis have sold so fast, so quickly, and the hype around those, like the social media presence that those Omnis had in the comic book community, and the want and drive and ask for that limited edition Justice League and Avengers crossover collection. I hope that's next. I know there's a lot of legal loopholes in that one to have that happen back in 2022 from a fundraiser through another publisher called the Hero Initiative, right? But surely they can see the numbers and the hype on these two Omnis selling out. They'll just, hey, let's make it happen. But okay, now that I've given you all that pretext, right? Why I think this has been Easter egged for a while, or maybe it's been in the works for a while. I don't know, but this reminded me of a part of the story at the end of Doomsday Clock. So this is in DC. Doomsday Clock was a Justice League or DC Universe crossover with the Watchmen, right? Yeah, 2019, 2020. And in the last issue, Dr. Manhattan, there's a sequence where I'll just put it up on screen so you can see it. Yeah, this one. I'll zoom in. So Dr. Manhattan looked into Superman's future, right? And how do I say this properly? So the final issue, it's referencing events in the DC universe, well, that hadn't happened yet, right? And hadn't come to pass. But it's a massive tease to something called the Secret Crisis, right? And my head's in the way of the last panel, but I'll read it anyway. So what this says is, it is January 2026. The timeline is restored. And Earth 5G is born. So this is, I won't even go into what that is. It was a failed initiative from DC, which is going to be called 5G, like 5th generation. And they're going to introduce a whole new slew of new characters, and it didn't go well. It is June 17th, 2026, right? So that's next year. Superman goes on a quest to find Bruce Wayne's lost daughter so she can save Bruce's son. On July 10th, 2030, which is not too far away, 2025 is a bit early from what they're saying, according to this. Dr. Manhattan's probably wrong. July 10th, 2030, the Secret Crisis begins, throwing Superman into a brawl across the universe with Thor himself and a green behemoth stronger than even Doomsday, who dies protecting Superman from these invaders. In its wake, Superman's timeline shifts forward again, Okay, so that top right box is the hype right there, right? Now, I'm not saying that Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's book, The Doomsday Clock, has anything to do with this current announcement that they're doing a crossover, but this was a big call when this came out. I remember this page going around the internet going, holy moly, what the hell? Oh my God. And like, this is awesome, man. I mean, Thor, they can say Thor in this comic because Thor is, Thor's not owned by Marvel. Like, Thor is a bloody deity, for God's sakes. But Green Behemoth, right? That's a easy way to say Hulk, right? So that's awesome, right? So imagine that, they're putting this tease in there, right? And 2030 was so far away. It's 10 years away from when this book came out. So of course, yeah, hey, look, a fun little throwaway line, right? But here we are, not yet 5 years later after this book comes out, and now there's talks of a DC Marvel crossover this year, right? So I thought that was cool, right? And the next one is, I'll bring this up. This one is very cool. This is from Donny Cates and Nick Klein's run on Thor. So this was back in 2020. So it's around the same time, right? So this already makes me feel like these creators are buddy-buddy, and they thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool, this year when we're working on these books, let's drop some Easter eggs, right? But this one's even more crazy because it's so blatant without crossing that IP copyright line, right? So, how do I explain this? So, Thor in this run had just recently become the new All-Father. I've actually got the Omnis down there. I can't wait to read it. And he was forced to become Galactus' new herald to help this cosmic world devourer, Galactus, fight this star plague known as Black Winter. Turns out the Black Winter is the same thing, or the same blight that killed Galactus' original universe before coming into our one. Anyway, so Thor, I think it's Thor, has this vision during his quest. Yeah, Thor gets a vision from what I hear. I haven't read the book, but I'm just from what I've heard over the years. Thor gets a vision from this event, and you can see the top panel, right? It says your gods will arrive, and this you can't see it, but yes, you can on screen. That's clearly the Daily Planet, right? And Superman, right? This isn't a Marvel book, right? And the next panel, a sun god, a god of emerald light, a god of dark, perhaps, a god of the ocean, of speed, of strength, right? So you can see Superman shooting there. There's Flash running along the road there. And you've got a streak of green light. That's Green Lantern, obviously. And like a little black smudge up there, which is obviously Batman just trying to follow these gods. And then the last panel down here, it just gets darker. It's cut off at the bottom there from how I've cropped this screen. But it says, this universe, like so many before it, is protected by a league of gods. Many of them as powerful as those you have always known and marveled at. Right? And you can see them like going off into the distance as the darkness encompasses that universe. So what this is looking like is what it's showing us is that this universe is obviously befell by this dark Black Winter as well. Right? Just giving us a short insight into maybe DC's universe. Right? I think that's so cool. Right? I love this stuff, man. It's like, it's so on the nose without getting in any trouble, but it's giving comic book fans like, oh my God, like, how cool is that? Like this acknowledgement of each other's, like, Marvel and DC, they're the big ones, right? They're the ones that have done it all, right? And we love all these characters and stuff, and I do particularly. So I love this, man. I can't wait to actually read this in the book when I get to it and just read how it's played out and part of the story. I know it's just this, just this page, but I can't wait to see it in the course of the story, right? But now, like knowing now that we're potentially getting to, I'll go back to this, a proper crossover. I hope they call it Secret Crisis, which is what the Doomsday Clock called it. It's such a cool name for one, because it crosses over like Secret Wars for Marvel that's Marvel's big event name, Secret Wars, right? And Infinite Crisis, right, is on DC's side. So Infinite Crisis or Crisis on Infinite Earths, or Final Crisis, like it's always a crisis, like something crisis or crisis something over at DC, right? And it's always Secret something or Secret Wars or whatever over at Marvel. So it just makes sense if they're going to do a crossover like this for it to be Secret Crisis, right? It just says it all. It says everything you need to know that this is a DC and Marvel crossover, right? Oh my God, it just blows my brain just thinking about it. Like, I think now's the right time, right? Because Marvel aren't what it used to be, or isn't what it used to be, right? Particularly in the comics, and the movies have fallen on its face time and time again. DC it just failed its cinematic universe. The last couple of years, it's really picked itself up in the comic book space. Some good stories coming out of that. Both of them are pumping out omnibuses like there's no tomorrow, and a lot of people are buying into their old stories, right? Because the new stories just aren't finding as many audiences as they used to. DC is, particularly in the last 12 months, and particularly 6 or 8 months. It's definitely found a strong audience, like Green Lantern and Batman and whatnot. And Superman's been doing really, really good too, under Josh Williamson. And I can't wait to. I want to read that Josh Williamson's run if it ever gets collected. I want to read that. It looks awesome. Anyway, getting back to it. But Marvel doesn't seem to, for me anyway, since like Jonathan Hickman and all that, that whole era, seems to have just fallen off the wayside, where the comics are now being dictated by the movies, right? And it's just being handicapped by that. And I think they need to step away from that. And I have said before, like, if you want to know what's going to happen in Marvel, the movies, right? Just look at what the comic books are doing, what the solicits are. If you read the solicits for the next 6 months to a year, it might give you a bit of insight as to what Marvel's planning to do in their cinematic universe going forward. But so I don't like that. I wish the comic books were removed from the movies, and the movies should follow the comics, right? Like, whatever the comics are doing, put the story first, is what I'm saying. Put the creators in-house, in front of the right characters, in front of the right books. Make them great again, like they used to be. Hire good writers, great artists, all that stuff, instead of, desperate hires or whatever they're doing these days. And then we'll have epic stories to be told on the big screen again, just like what Marvel did for 10 years, where they pulled from all the most famous stories, and they made billions from it. Anyway, so I think like now's the perfect time that they both need that injection of hype, right? I mean, how amazing would that be that this Marvel DC crossover in 2025 is the start to something amazing, or more regular crossovers. Maybe it's a point where after that crisis that it gives Marvel a chance to reboot properly. I don't know if they'll want to. There's been talk about Marvel rebooting in comics, but I don't know if they'll want to have their Marvel universe rebooted tied to anything to do with DC. I don't think they'll do that, but that would be so awesome. Like at the end of Secret Crisis, rebooted Marvel universe. Or maybe both of them. Maybe they both agree. Like, hey, look, I don't think they'll do that. It's probably industry suicide or something. I don't know. But maybe they're like, hey, look, after the Secret Crisis, we're both going to start over, and let's see what happens. Anyway, I'm really excited about this. As you can tell, I've been speaking at length about it. Get hype. I can't wait. Apparently, it's only going to be 2 one-shots for now, right? I don't know how big those one-shots are going to be either. I don't have any other details about how many pages each one-shot are going to have. But I think that's short-sighted, to be honest, to just do one shot per company, right? Like, wouldn't you want to make this like they did back in the 90s, like a 6-issue run or something, or a 4-issue run? 2 issues done by DC, 2 issues done by Marvel, and interject like DC 1, issue 1 DC, issue 2 Marvel, issue 3 DC, issue 4 Marvel, or something like that, like they did back in the past. Like, how cool would that be? So you've got 4 months worth of hype, right? Instead of just 2 or 1. Like if they put them out at the same time, I don't know. Just to me, that seems a bit silly. You've got a massive opportunity here to tell a really epic story that people have been wanting for such a long time. Like, why wouldn't you go, okay, let's just make it a big bang, right? Even if it's over 2 months, maybe just put a couple books out over 2 months. There's 4 issues. Then you can put that in a collected edition. It'll be a decent chunky size. Well, I don't know, 4 80-page specials or something. Like each issue's an 80-page giant size issue or something. I don't know. I want what I want, and I'm probably not going to get it, but I'm glad we're getting a crossover nonetheless, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I've spoken too much on this, but you can tell I'm excited. So anyway, cool. I'm glad that I've been able to talk about that now. So let me know what you think. Are you excited for this at all? You know, does this sound cool? Like, how could it not? Right? I'm interested to see if anyone catches this and leaves a comment and lets me know what their thoughts are, if they're not hyped at all. But if you're not, let me know why. Tell me. I'm really curious. But if you are hyped, I'm also curious as to know why. Because, let me know what you think it might be. Anyway, cool. We'll head into the final topic, which is He-Man. The new He-Man movie. Yes. Okay, get it right this time. Yes, back to the pip. All right, so look at this. Yep. Don't know if you've seen this, but hey, Netflix is doing a Masters of the Universe movie. So, look, I'm excited because it's Masters of the Universe. I mean, getting anything is good. I've really enjoyed what Netflix has done. Oh, yeah, it's a good plug. I got this for like $6 today. This is a massive figure. It's on sale. This is from the Netflix CG animated cartoon series. I've got the 5.5 inch version of that. And of course, I saw this in the shop and it was $6. And I was like, I've got the smaller one, but yes, I'll have that. Thank you. And no regrets. But I really liked what Netflix has done with MOTU. I'm just going to call it MOTU from here on, so I don't have to say Masters of the Universe every time. So MOTU on Netflix, we've had that CG animated series in 2021. Awesome, by the way. It's a really good reimagination of it. If you haven't seen it, I love it. I've even got the DVD set, even though it's not in Australian's region. I'll find a multi-region DVD player eventually, and I'll because I'm not paying for Netflix. But it's really good. It's so good that my wife helped me collect the toy line from that series. I've got the grey Skal and I've got all the figures for that, the 5.5 inch figures for it, the vehicles and everything. Really awesome. I've got the Skeletor and all that up here, and I've got He-Man and up over there. It's great. If you want to see a reimagined or a modernized version, go watch that one. But I know all of us oldies, we've got massive nostalgia for the original 80s series in 83, 84. It's a classic. It's cheesy as hell. It doesn't hold up that well, but it's still great. Like, I love the imagination behind MOTU. Like, it's epic, man. Like, if you take the kiddish nature out of the cartoon series, right? And if you gave it an adult appeal, which is what they tried to do with Kevin Smith's Netflix, Revelations and Revolutions, those 2 series, and I hope we'll get another one because I thought they were awesome, right? Except for the first go around where it was the Tila and Friends show and, female empowerment and subversions and He-Man's barely in it and all that kind of stuff. There was a lot wrong with that, but they corrected a lot of it in Revelations. Revelations, awesome. It was a bit shorter, but it was awesome, right? Just do that again, please, right? Why don't we have our Super He-Man and Super Tila figures yet? Well, that shit at the end of that was awesome, man. Like, it was a crossover. They even had the logo from the 2021 He-Man, the CG He-Man. That was the logo on his chest. Anyway, going off topic. Well, not off topic. I'm just going riffing about MOTU and how I love it. But look, it's awesome. It's awesome. I love the imagination and the mythos and all that kind of stuff around it. But what I don't like to see here is we're on Earth, right? Straight up, that's the first thing that's wrong with these photos here. So this movie's been done by Travis Knight. Travis Knight has Netflix history, right, and pedigree, and he's been successful. I believe he did Bumblebee. I think that Bumblebee movie, I believe that was him too. And he gave us one of the best sequences of Transformers ever from that like 3 minutes of footage on Cybertron, right at the start and somewhere in the middle of the movie. Just, man, if we had that as a whole movie, I mean, we had Transformers 1, but anyway, I'm going way off topic. But so look, I trust him. He's done good. I'm sure he's had some mandates that he's needed to stick to, and he's going to do his best. So look, at least the power sword looks awesome. I'll just zoom in on this a bit so you can see it. So looks like Adam. I'm just going to call him Adam on this one for now. You know, I'm just going to surmise what's happened here. He's found the sword. He's walking around the city with it. And the cops are like, hang on a minute. You can't be walking around the city with a sword, mate. And they pick him up and put him in a cop car. I don't know. Is that how it goes? Who knows? It looks like it. And he's trying to explain to this officer over here that, hey, look, this isn't a sword. This is a defense reticule or something. I don't know. Look, but the official synopsis that I've found, it says, a young man on Earth discovers a fabulous secret legacy as the prince of an alien planet. What? A fabulous secret legacy as the prince of an alien planet. Him. And must recover a magic sword and return home to protect his kingdom. In furthest regions of space, the kingdoms of Eternia is threatened by the villainous Skeletor and his mischievous armies of darkness. To save his father's kingdom and protect the lives of those he holds dear, young Prince Adam has to retrieve a mythical sword and become the fabled warrior only known as He-Man. Right, and I hope they do that. I hope they do that in the movie. But I mean, I can't wait to see the transformation sequence. And will they do a modernization of the theme song? The beep 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 beep. You know that, man. And you know, I have the power and like all that kind of stuff. That'd be so awesome. They got to lean into it. If they're gonna do it, they got to lean into it so goddamn hard. Catch your breath, Christopher. Oh my god. So, look, the sword looks awesome. If it's just temporarily on Earth, I can sit with that. It sounds like it'll be like a John Carter from Mars situation, you know, or a Green Lantern situation, or unlikely hero whisked away across the galaxy type story, you know, Flash Gordon, like all that kind of stuff, right? If it's like that and it's not spent too much time on Earth, particularly if Earth isn't going to be a big focal point in the movie, it's best to just cut away from it as soon as possible. Because then you'll end up with, I think it was 1987. Was it 1987? I could be wrong. Whenever the live action He-Man movie was. 87. I think I'm right. You know, Dolph Lundgren and all that. Now, I watched that with my wife recently because I got the Blu-ray last year sometime. And it's actually better than I remember it being. But my God, it really suffered from being stuck on Earth and that whole fish out of water situation. It's funny and all that kind of stuff. But man, the designs in that movie were pretty damn outrageous and epic. Imagine just a whole movie of that. That would have been sick as hell. Anyway, so yeah, please just cut away from Earth as soon as possible and get to Eternia as soon as we can, right? Because yeah, otherwise, yeah, we're gonna have this. We're just gonna have this meme. It's gonna be a meme of a movie if it fails, right? You can either do this really well or really bad. It's a difficult step, I think, depending on who's in charge and what the idea is and who's calling the shots of how good this is going to be. If the budget's not there, man, it could be bad. MOTU's expensive if you want to get this done right with the care and the artistic flair and the mythos and the atmosphere and all that stuff. If you look at the paintings that are on the toys, man, on the artwork for the promotional pieces for the toys, all those paintings with these dark, like colorful clouds and moody atmospheric skies and spiky mountains in the distance and a snake mountain spewing evil, and then on the other side you've got this skull of a castle, grey skull, you know, it's in the name. Like all these epic things of like the sword of a power and all this kind of shit. Like it's just put the money where it needs to be, please, for goodness sake. But they put out a promotional piece, and this has got me keen more than I thought. Right, the sword is on point. The sword is perfect. I want one. The arm bracelet looks like a particular MOTU figure from the 80s, I believe, or it looks exactly like the Mondo figure that I've seen. Like it looks spot on. And you can see just in the darkness behind the sword, you can see the crest, the emblem, the crest that's on his chest. So he's got that the cross armor piece in front. Like it so far looks good. Like if this is any sign of what's to come and it's in Eternia and stuff like, I know I'm kind of, this is me coping, where I'm trying to come up with all these scenarios off one image, but this is a really cool promotional image, right? And looks like the guys are jacked up for it as well, which is awesome. So look, you know, I know there's not a lot to talk about with this movie. That's pretty much it from what I've seen, from what news I've been able to gather. There is a cast list out. Like we've got Camila Mendes as Tila, Jared Leto as Skeletor, excuse me, Alison Brie as Evelyn, Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms, Sam Wilson, Trapjaw, Half-Thor, Julius Bjornsson, the Mountain himself as Goat Man. Like Goat Man? Why do you get Mountain and give him Goat Man? Just Beast Man or something, for goodness sake. Kojo Ada as Triclops, Marina Baccarin, oh my god, as the Sorceress of Castle Grayskull. So that's pretty cool. Oh my god, I don't even know how to say this name. Johannes Hauke Johannesson as Fisto. Man, imagine getting that. Your agent has just called you. He's like, hey, I've got your role in Master of the Universe. He-Man. Oh, awesome. Oh, who am I? Like, am I Man-at-Arms or something? No, you're Fisto. Oh. Oh. Fisto, James Purefoy as King Randall Grayskull. Charlotte Riley as Queen Marlena. Glenn Grayskull. So Marlena Glenn Grayskull, the Queen, is from Earth, right? So I guess that's the tie if they want to explore it. I just hope they don't spend too long. Depending on the continuity or the source material that you're looking at, Queen Marlena is from Earth, so I'll give him that. But why is Adam on Earth is what I want to know. It makes sense that he's been whisked away from Eternia to be saved or something because Skeletor is uprising or something like that. Just building that in my mind. John Zhu Zhang as Ram Man. That guy is a bloody brick shithouse. He looks huge, so that fits. I would have thought Half-Thor would have been a good Ram Man, but anyway. Cool. So yeah, this is what we're doing. I can't wait for this, man. I really hope it's good. Really hope, because if they do it well and we get another one, man, if Mortal Kombat 2020 or whatever, 2020, 2019, whenever that came out, the reboot, if that came out and it's getting a sequel, my God, you know, give us a MOTU sequel for goodness sake. Because that Mortal Kombat movie had a lot left to be desired. I enjoyed it for what it was, but my God, it doesn't hold a candle to the 96 movie. Anyway, I'm going well over time. I appreciate your time with me here tonight, but there's been a lot to talk about. You can tell I've been a bit pent up wanting to talk about this kind of stuff. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you hyped for this MOTU movie? Clearly I am. Cool. Let's wrap this up. Yes. Okie dokie. Cool. We're back in frame. Let's just wind it down now. Let's calm down a bit and start to chill out for a Sunday night. I don't know, I might go get a coffee, which is pretty silly. I've got a few hours left of the evening to keep animating, and I'm going to do that as soon as I'm done here splicing this show up and getting it all ready for the YouTubes. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. You know, including me in your day and your time is all awesome. Like, I'm always appreciative of it. It's of all the things you could be doing, if you choose to check out anything I'm doing, it means a lot. So thank you for that. Feel free to follow me on my socials or just my website, unclechunt.com. It connects to most of my socials. But if you have a social account that you use or an app, social media app that you use, more than likely I'm on it. So just search for Uncle Chunt and I'm on there probably. And if I'm not on one, let me know. Major platforms. Anyway, unclechunt.com, koalaink.com, all that stuff. And you can keep abreast of what I'm doing. And anyway, enjoy your Sunday evening or Sunday night or Saturday morning, wherever part of the country you're in, Saturday night at this time or whatever. Or if you're checking this during the week, hopefully your week is going well and work's not too brutal. And just hang in there. And before you know it, it'll be another weekend. And we can hang out and chat some more. So look forward to seeing your comments and engagements with you. I do enjoy it. Every time I get a comment, I'm like, oh my God. And I jump in, I'm like, it's like, it's cool. It's like, oh man, someone's finally, just having a go or like, leaving a comment and say good day or whatever. And it's always cool. So anyway, I'll stop rambling. I'm going to go get some dinner and a coffee and keep working. So take care and I'll see you next week. And until then, what I usually say, in the meantime, till all are one, and may the power protect you. See you later.
In the nebula of dreams and lore, Uncle Chunt's got tales galore. With the mighty beard